All right, let's talk about one of the most frustrating places you can be with your money, just stuck. Today, we're going to lay out a super clear, step-by-step roadmap to get you from spinning your wheels to actually building some wealth. Let's get right into it. Does this feel a little too real? You pay all your bills, you're not digging a deeper hole, but at the end of the month, you're right back at square one. There's just no forward progress. It honestly feels like you're on a financial treadmill, just running and going nowhere. If that's ringing a bell, then you might just fit this profile we're talking about today. The source material actually gives this a name, which is kind of perfect. Break-even Steven. It's just a handy way to label this very specific, very common financial situation. So first things first, let's get a really clear picture of who we're talking about here. Because, you can't solve a problem until you really understand it, right? Here's the deal. You're not drowning, which is good, but you're not really swimming anywhere either. The money that comes in basically high-fives the money going out on its way out the door. It leaves absolutely zero, nothing, left over for the important stuff like investing or really attacking your debt. You're just in maintenance mode. Okay, now for the good stuff, the plan. And the very first step is all about taking out the single biggest thing that's holding you back. This is the question that just paralyzes people. I mean, you hear all the time you should be investing, building for the future, but then you've got this debt just hanging over your head. So where does that first extra dollar actually go? Well, the math makes the answer surprisingly simple. Just look at the numbers. They make the decision for you. That credit card debt, it's probably costing you something like 22% every single year. The stock market, even in a pretty good year, might give you back 8%. So think about it. Paying off that 22% debt is exactly like getting a guaranteed 22% return on your money. No investment on earth can promise you that. So the takeaway is crystal clear. You have to attack that high interest debt first, period. And here is the exact tool for the job, the avalanche method. Honestly, it's such a brilliant strategy because it's so simple and it's mathematically the fastest way to get out of debt. You just keep paying the minimums on everything else, but every single extra penny you can find gets thrown at the one loan with that highest, nastiest interest rate until it is completely gone. So as you can see here, that 22% credit card is target number one. Once that's gone, maybe you move on to a 15% personal loan, and then after that, a 10% car loan. You just list them out by interest rate, highest to lowest, and you knock them down one by one. Okay, so we've got a target and we've got a method. But to make this whole avalanche thing work, you need ammo. You need extra money. So the next big question is, where in the world do you find it? This is your mission. You need to become a detective and go through your budget to find and free up 5 to 10% of your income. That becomes the fuel for your debt-destroying engine. Now, I know it might sound like a lot, but let's break down where you can actually look for it. Here are the moves you can make. It all starts with just tracking. Seriously, open up a spreadsheet and see where every single dollar of your fund money is actually going. You'll probably be surprised. Look at all those subscriptions you forgot you had, or how often you're eating out. We're not talking about cutting out all the joy in your life. We're talking about optimizing. And the real key, you've got to check in on it every couple of weeks to stay on track. And now, this is the moment we've been working towards. This is the payoff. Once that anchor of high-cost debt is gone, you can finally start building some real momentum toward creating wealth. So, when do you flip the switch? The source gives us a really clear line in the sand. High-cost debt is anything over 10% interest. The second you've paid off everything above that number, you get the green light. You can officially shift your focus from paying things off to building things up. And getting started with investing doesn't have to be some big scary thing. It's actually really straightforward. You just open an account, set up an automatic monthly transfer, pick a simple, low-cost investment like an ETF, automate the whole thing so it happens every month without you thinking about it, and then maybe check in once a year to see if things are still on track. That's it. So what do you actually invest in? Well, here's a super simple starting point, a basic split. Put 70% of your money in a global fund, something like an S&P 500 ETF, which gives you a piece of huge international companies. Then put the other 30% in a local market fund. Boom, you get diversification without making it all complicated. This whole 5-step plan isn't something we just made up. It's designed to take the stress and the guesswork out of getting into the market. And trust me, automation is your absolute best friend here. Set it and forget it. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the entire journey.
We've looked at all the individual steps, but now let's put it all together on a timeline so you can see the whole game plan. This is what the next 2 years of your life could look like. For real. The first month or two, you're just in planning mode, finding that surplus. The next 2 years, you're on a mission, a focused campaign to just wipe out that expensive debt. And then, starting in month 25, you're an investor. You're automatically and systematically building your wealth. It's a project with a clear beginning and a clear end. Totally doable.
If you only take one single thing away today, let it be this. This is the entire strategy in one sentence. Prioritize. First, you destroy the expensive debt that is actively working against you. Then, and only then, you start putting your money to work for you.
So there it is, the complete roadmap to get you from stalled to started. The path is clear, the steps are real, and the destination is actual financial progress. You have the map. The only question left is, what's your first step?